Do you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Aloha, everybody. This is Harold Green, and it is time to stop doing what you hate. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I'm excited to share today's show with you folks, titled Blind Spots. That's right, blind spots, the things that keep us from accomplishing all that we ever could dream or imagine. But before I get into today's show, I want to give a shout out to some dear friends of mine that have helped me through the difficult time of losing my father-in-law and, being here, working and, by myself to kind of deal with this. And my wife is in Japan. And so, we've been talking every day and then, just cheering her on and her helping her family get readjusted. And it's just been a little bit of a blessing in disguise. It's given me time to reevaluate and to rethink some things and to reconnect with some good friends. And again, you folks know who you are. Thanks for checking in on me, every day, every other day, just making sure I'm okay. And thanks to all of my clients for, all of the well wishes and, kind regards, best regards, and things of that nature. And so just, thanks for showing me all the love. And I appreciate you folks dearly. And so I want to get into today's show. But before I do, again, this week, as far as the market is concerned, has been very, 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 very insane. We're looking at interest rates, inflation, interest rates going up. And so if you haven't already reevaluated your portfolio, give me a holler, 808-521-4401. And I'll be glad to take a look at that with you and help you hopefully make some adjustments and put you on the right track. But this rotation has been insane. It's like a whipsaw, left and right, back and forth. And it's really keeping me on my toes and making sure that I'm on top of my game. And so I want to talk to you guys about these blind spots, because blind spots are what keeps people doing the things that they hate or putting up with things that they would otherwise not deal with. And so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the blind spots and, what they are. And, basically, the definition of a blind spot. It's just a spot that you can't see. Like when you're driving down the road, and thank God for the blind spot monitoring systems, because I tell you what, if I didn't have them, I'm a pretty decent driver without them. But with them, I get this little flashing signal in my mirror on the left or on the right, letting me know whether my lane is clear or whether my lane is congested. And it really helps me out now since I've changed my car. I used to have a Jeep Cherokee, and things have changed a little bit. And I decided to go and buy me a Porsche Cayenne sports SUV. And it's a pretty nifty car, a lot of power. And I definitely have to check my blind spots, because when you drive a Porsche, man, people trip. I don't know why, but people trip. People they try to race me unnecessarily. They try to cut me off, and I'm just minding my own business, doing my thing. And it just kind of goes to show you the way people think about certain things in life. And so you got to have your blind spot monitoring systems. And so it's very important inside of a financial plan to also have blind spot monitoring systems. And so one of the things I talk to my clients about is, let me be your blind spot monitoring system. Before you make a decision, before you change the lane, before you do something, check in with me and let me look at things, run the numbers, look at the radar, make sure that the decision that you are going to make is a great decision and it's going to just makes things better for you. Now, one of the things that causes blind spots is bias. Some biases are natural, and some bias is basically uneducated. And I want to talk to you guys about some uneducated bias, the way you think about certain people, the way you think about certain things, the decisions that you make. And whether you believe it or not, your brain operates on a unconscious or subconscious level. In other words, when you make your decisions are made out of the deep, deep thoughts and closely held beliefs that you have inside your mind. And when you live this way, there's a few things that can happen to you. All right. One of the things that can happen to you is your biases could make you miss out on opportunities. And let me share with you what I'm talking about. Here in my firm, it's me. I'm the chief investment officer. I'm also the chief compliance officer, and I am looking at interviewing people for the outsourced chief compliance officer. And I'll get into that a little bit later on in another show about compliance and how important that is to your overall financial situation. But basically, I'm a one man wrecking crew. In other words, I do all the investing, I meet with all of my clients. Why? Because it's very, very important to me at this point and at this stage in my life and at this stage in my business. And so I've had people come in and sit down and talk to me about becoming their advisor. And they had some real concerns about me being the only one in the shop. And they brought up things like, well, what happens if something happens to you? And basically, I'm going to share with you guys the same thing. And you may be having that concern of what if something happens to me? Well, basically, the way your planning is built and the way the systems are set up, if something ever happened to me with a few phone calls, you can move all your assets to another advisor without penalty, without fees. It's easy. Yes, it'd be sad. I'd be gone. Yes, you would have to find somebody else to run another system. But at this point and at this stage, I think it's important for me to work on quality over quantity. And honestly, I'd rather have 100 great, awesome clients who love me for who I am and for what I can do for them and what I have done for them than 1,000 people, right? And I don't know them or their families. So I'm choosing quality over quantity. Yes, I'm still taking on clients, and maybe not a lot more, but I am taking on clients. But these people, okay, would not give me a chance because they were afraid that if something happens to me, they wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't know where to go. I suspect it's something else. I'd suspect it's a little bit of a bias, right? I don't have a super fancy office with marble bathrooms like a Charles Schwab or a Merrill Lynch or Edward Jones or whatever. But my main goal is to bring mad value, massive value to the clients who trust me and who give me the opportunity to serve them. And if that's you out there and you're on the fence and you're like, yeah, Harold, you're a one man show. What if something happens to you? Let me make you as much money as I possibly can while I am still here. And then if something were to happen to me, you can take all the profit and take all the gain and move it somewhere else. But not giving me a shot because of bias, you're going to miss out. I'm going to be real with you. You're going to miss out and it's going to be your loss. And one of the things about bias is it makes you think more highly of yourself than other people. It makes you begin to discount or discredit other people. Yeah. And you may not give them a shot because of the biases that you have. And sometimes it's your five senses, right? The way something looks, the way it feels, the way it smells. It has to be a certain kind of way in order for you to be comfortable. And a lot of times, success in anything comes when you are outside of your comfort zone. So if you really want to become super successful at anything, you're going to have to become uncomfortable. When I first started in the investment advisory field, I was getting up super mad early in the morning and not getting enough sleep at night. And yes, that can lead to mistakes and different things like that. But it was part of the process of me having to get out of my comfort zone and having to deal with the ups and the downs and the different swings in the market and the different things that are going on, yes, it was very uncomfortable. And truth be told, a majority of financial advisors or investment advisors in the world have some form of PTSD or ADHD. There's something wrong with some of us guys because of the amount of stress and the amount of things that we put ourselves through in order to deliver for our clients. And so if you are a praying person, please continue to pray for me and pray that I use wisdom in guiding you. And because it is a very stressful thing at times. And so blind spots can make you, number one, miss out on opportunities, right? Number two, it could cause you to mistreat or to look down on other people. And the third, and one of the most devastating things that blind spots can do or biases can do, they can cause you to make unforced errors, right? Self-defeating mistakes. And this week, I made an unforced error, something that I did. I made a business decision that that was a little bit of a mistake. It did cost me some money. And so I started to beat myself up over it. And the long story short is I called my daughter and I said, "Hey, honey," and she was she was eating dinner, but she's like, "Yeah, I'll talk to you, Dad. I got a couple of seconds." And I said, "How do you deal with making mistakes?" And she's 22. And I raised my kids to have a lot of wisdom, to be wise and to deal with things in a proper manner. And sometimes I lean on them and sometimes I talk to them because I'm not perfect. And so I said, how do you deal with mistakes? If you make a mistake, how do you deal with it? And first thing she said is like, what kind of mistake? I said, any kind of mistake, like a relationship mistake or a school mistake or a life mistake. And she said, try not to, if it's something that I can fix, I'll work on fixing it over time. And but I'll try not to dwell on it. I'll try not to think about it. I'll just move on, and I'll think about ways to fix it, ways to make it up. And so it was one of those situations where I wasn't really paying attention at that time. I was distracted. I was not focused, and it caused me to make an unforced error because I have a bad habit of multitasking. I can do so many things at one time. But I failed to realize that sometimes it's better to just focus and pay attention to what it is that I am doing. So multitasking for me is a big blind spot because sometimes it'll cause me to miss things. And so that's something that I know I need to get better at. But when it comes to your overall financial plan in regards to retiring and making sure that your assets are in the right place and making sure that your strategy is on point, and making sure that you have a blind spot monitoring system in place, what are you doing? Are you hiring somebody? I reached back out to my personal trainer and I'm looking at getting back reestablished with him. Although I've lost quite a bit of weight on my own, I just feel like having a bond and having that relationship and somebody to push me harder than I push myself is going to be very important. And I was listening to a podcast and shout out to Mark Evans. I don't know you. I hear your podcast and I hear your passion. I hear your zeal. And one of the things he talks about is making sure you have people to help coach you and to help walk you through different things. And so if you are out there and you are ready to have someone become your blind spot monitor in your finances, go to my website, retirenowretirewell.com. Download that Game Changer form. Better yet, just pick up the phone and call me, 808-521-4401. Schedule an appointment with my assistant, Kayla. And I'd love to talk to you about not doing the things that you hate. So thanks for allowing me to share today's show with you guys. It's a little bit of a short and sweet. I'll be back with you in about a week or so talking about some other important things. And so just keep it locked in, keep it tuned in. And until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.